Good afternoon, Miami sports fans. It's Thursday, December 3rd. The Miami Sports Break is back. We got a good action-packed show for you today. I'm joined by a special guest today, David Friedman. You might know him better as Talk About Sports on Twitter and social media. Jakari Gibbons will be joining us in just a second here. But got a pretty exciting show today, all about the Dolphins, of course. We're going to talk a little bit of fantasy football, get you set up for Week 13 action. I know this is going to be the last game for a lot of leagues going into your playoffs in Week 14. So there's a lot of news and notes, of course, with the COVID and everything else going on. So wanted to have David join us here and give us some insight onto what's going on this week. How's it going, Dave?
Doing good. I was telling you, I'm playing some musical chairs over here with the kids, so it's nap time, and I got some free time during the day to talk some sports with you. So,
nothing wrong with
hey,
appreciate that. Yeah, my son's doing virtual school, so
it's water. You can. It's water, by the way. I just wanted to clarify. It's the cup. It's not the drinking zone.
It's 12 o'clock somewhere, man.
It's 12 o'clock everywhere right now.
Just get to the home stretch. But, yeah, we've got a game here coming up on Sunday against Cincinnati. Of course, we don't have the Tua-Joe Burrow matchup. And even whether Tua is going to be part of the game is still up in the air. I know yesterday he was limited in practice with the thumb. So curious to see how that all is going to unfold. But what are you looking for on Sunday, whether it's Tua or Fitzpatrick, in terms of how the Dolphins are going to match up with what should be a winnable game at home versus the Bengals?
Yeah, I think this has been kind of the Twitter argument of the week between, the Dolphins fans themselves, the Fitz or the Tua thing. And there's been a lot of tweets back and forth about people who are saying, even if Tua is healthy, play Fitz. And to me, that's insane. That's another conversation. But to me, this is a very winnable game. And how I got into that conversation to begin with was I simply said, look, give me a healthy Tua for Kansas City against Mahomes. I mean, I understand they might not win that game. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want Tua in a game where they need him to do stuff, where they ask him to let it fly, and he has to take some chances. I want to see that. So to me, if he takes the week off, great. If it's Fitz, what's the difference? I mean, this is another Jets game. This is back-to-back Jets games. It sucks. Obviously, we were all looking forward to the QB matchup with Burrow and Tua, and then it kind of fell apart. But at the end of the day, like it's about the health of the thumb. And to me, if it takes an extra week and he's healthy, let him sit. I think it's a defensive game, and I have looked at a lot of the stats, and you're looking at them starting Brandon Allen, who threw for like $150 last week, if that. He's not a good. Right, he's not a good quarterback. You've seen the last 3 starts. He's averaging like 150 yards passing per game. And our defense has been swarming. And Ethan can post the shirt underneath the clip of this episode here. But, right, to me, this is the obvious game of don't do anything stupid. If you were going to sit Tua last week against the Jets because of the matchup, what's up, Jakari? If you're going to sit it because of the matchup, you got to look at the matchup the same exact way, and you got to play it safe.
All right, I'm here.
You here? Hold on. We'll jump back. Jakari will jump back in just a second once he's set up. But, yeah, I agree. Whether it's Fitz or Tua in this game, you really should pencil in as a W most likely. Cincinnati's offense, despite that 14th ranking, which is kind of middle of the pack in passing, those numbers were obviously with Joe Burrow, which was much more dynamic attack. When they had a healthy Mixon, which was week to week, he was a big asset in the passing game. There is some tough matchups still, though, with Cincinnati. They do have some good guys at the wide receiver spot, T. Higgins and also Tyler Boyd in the slot, who gets a lot of targets in that slot role, which is going to be something that's going to be interesting to see how he matches up with Nick Needham, who's really been playing well. So if basically Miami can kind of do what everybody expects them to do, take away the weapons in the passing game, which are kind of limited, but they are guys you have to account for. And what I'm really looking to see for Miami is to finally establish the running game against Cincinnati defense, which, as you see there, ranks 30th against the run. If Miami can't get it going now for the home stretch in December, where you're going to have some cold weather games and making that playoff push, you got to have some balance in the offense.
No, for sure. You got to have the balance. And if you look at, you're talking about hey, what's up? There he is. I mean, if you're talking.
Got it. Playoff day.
What's he got going on? Day. Cobras? Oh, I see.
It's playoff day. But
go ahead. Tell them what you got going on, Jock. No, we were just talking about Cincinnati and their run defense. But give us a little shout out to the Cobras real quick.
Yeah, South Miami Cobras today. We are in the playoffs. We play Miami Norland at 7 at Trash Power. I think we'll be dropping a link on the page. So I'll drop it on my page as well. So, you guys will just come out and support. Larry Bluestein wrote a little article about it today because we the first game of the playoffs. So I'm pretty excited. But to add to what you two guys were saying, Miami, this actually could be a game for Miami to establish the run game since Cincinnati's run defense is so porous. I expect Matt Breida to actually have a big game today. So not today, but on Sunday. I think he's going to rush for over 100 yards. I think we're going to get our first 100-yard rusher of the season.
It's going to be Breida?
Bold take. I like it.
I like Breida. I like Breida to get it because I think he can break. I think he breaks off a long run.
He can break one, yeah.
Yeah, break a long run and then come back, get, pick at it again, Mom. I just, like me and Dave talked about it on Tuesday. Miami just has to find a guy who they like, who they want to stick with. Not, he get 8 carries, Breida get 8. We can't split it up like that. Find a guy who got good rhythm and let him pound that defense. This is a game. The last 2 games have been games where if Tua would have been playing, would have been our passing game. Hey, let's try some stuff against the Jets because we can win that game regardless. And this is another game. Let's see what different run schemes we can go with. I like to see them run a little bit more power action with the offensive line because I think that's what they're more geared towards. I don't really see us as a finesse, stretch run game, zone run game team. I see us as a smash mouth. Let's get down here, some ISOs, some power OTs, and getting downhill. So that's what I want to see. And obviously, I would love to see Tua in the game. Hopefully he plays. I think he will. And then I expect a big game from Miami.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is kind of, I don't want to say a must-win game, but basically, I mean, at this point in the season, you look at the last quarter of the schedule.
No.
Pretty much is necessary.
Miami has to win the games they're supposed to. So down the stretch, when we play the Raiders and the Bills, those are winnable games. Kansas City, not so much. The Patriots are a very winnable game. So we have to win those 3 games, in my opinion. I think they got to go 3-2 down the stretch.
Yeah. And Miami's not going to overlook anybody. I think they're kind of taking it week to week. That New England mantra is a little bit carried on to Flores, obviously, with his, his philosophy. Yeah, on to Cincinnati.
Literally.
We're and here we are. So I want to see him, if Fitzpatrick's in there, really take the training wheels off the offense, especially the running game, try to get some playmakers going.
But Dave, with Fitz, is no training wheels. It's like he just lets him do whatever he wants.
Well, I mean, with the running game, though, I think, like you said, you got to get a little bit more power-oriented. Maybe they've been kind of cute with the stuff. But what I didn't really like about Bray last week was I didn't think his vision was great. I think he missed a couple opportunities there to break off larger runs, and he kind of just ran into the defense where if he would have maybe cut it back a little bit or bounced it, whatever the situation was, he could have maybe made a difference. Dave, I want to ask you, who do you want to see stepping up in this game from the wide receiver spot? Devontae Parker had a great game last week. So who's that number 2 guy you want to see kind of separate from the rest this week?
I mean, honestly, man, Jakeem Grant, obviously, he's the guy who has it seems like the biggest big playability. I mean, you get him the ball in small spaces. It's not Jarvis Landry, but it's that type of thing with a little bit extra giddy up there.
Yeah, he's faster.
And look, I mean, other than that, you spread around to like a Mac Hollins. I mean, that's the problem.
There's not a lot of options there, right? Not a lot of guys.
Gesicki, can I say Gesicki?
I know what I'm going to say.
I like Callaway. I want to see him get more touches.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you got to find ways to get Grant the ball in space like we talked about on Tuesday. Some stuff a little bit closer line of scrimmage rather than trying to take the top off the defense with him. He's just not built for that. And Parker's not a speed guy. He's going to more win the 50-50 matchups on the outside. So you need the home run hitter. Maybe it's Callaway.
But see, this is what I'm saying. Callaway had a first-round grade when he was coming out. I think he dropped in the draft due to the off the field issues, which is always going to be a problem with certain guys or whatever. But he's cleaned his attitude up. He's had a clean slate. He even alluded to it in the press conference. He never had this structure around him, where he can just play football and not, he knows this is it. So I feel like he has a lot to offer. And I think Miami can go ahead if he has a productive last 5 games of the season. It could be similar to what Pittsburgh does with their receivers. They extend those guys way before they're supposed to. Look at the example with Antonio Brown. He got a 6-year, $48 million deal, and I think in like year 3 or 4, but that was a bargain looking like where he was producing at. That was a bargain. So I feel the same way about Callaway. I do think he has a extreme ability to make plays, and I think he's a guy who can be a number 1 receiver, definitely a number 2. And I think him, obviously Miami's going to draft a receiver as well, but him, Preston Williams, and Devontae Parker down the stretch with Jakeem Grant, Malcolm Perry, I think that's going to be a very formidable group on the outside to give Miami some options at receiver.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to take a lot to really overtake the Bengals in this one. I mean, if you look at their last 3 games, which they've lost, they've haven't cracked 17 points in any of those games. So
without Joe Burrow, this game has lost its fluster. Yeah. Like right now, if Joe Burrow was playing, we'd be excited to see
even with Fitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Burrow's having a great season. You obviously hate to see that injury, and it's going to be a long road to recovery for him. So wish him all the best, of course. But, you play who's on the schedule, and whoever's healthy at the time, you got to roll with for either side. And I just want to see another signature performance from the defense. David, what are your keys to the Miami defense in this one?
I look back at the last game. I mean, they only gave up. I looked at Cincinnati. They gave up like 2 sacks, and the Giants' defense is pretty solid. I mean, I don't know much about their offensive line. I'd be lying if I sat here and I studied it.
That I don't think that the Bengals' offensive line is good. If I'm not mistaken, I think Joe Burrow was tops in sacks.
Well, he was dropping back like 1,000 times a game, so it's going to happen. But that's obviously things have changed a little bit. I think the main thing for me, and I look at it also from a fantasy perspective, as you guys know. Even a guy like Gio Bernard, like all of a sudden without Burrow, you take Mixon out of there, and I was rolling with Gio for a while. You can do that with Burrow. But you take Burrow out, everything else changes, and you can't do anything. And I have Higgins here last week, 5 for 5. Sample 4 for 5. Boyd 3 of 6.
Yeah, I benched Boyd last week in our league.
And that's the thing.
I still took the L, but it was an ugly one.
It's just... Yeah. I think Miami's defense will stifle. I think Brandon Allen will be under the helm again. I'm not sure if they're going to play Ryan Finley. I just think Miami defense will stifle them. I don't see them having a big game. They're just not – they don't have it right now. Without Burrow, I don't think they have a formidable quarterback to get those weapons the ball. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Cincinnati come out and play scrappy, though. If Miami underestimates them, it'd be a close game going into the 3rd or 4th quarter. But ultimately, I think Miami's defense continues to do what it does. I think Bora and Flores have done a masterful job. And in a fantasy perspective, if I have the Dolphins defense, I expect them to get some turnovers and some sacks this game just because they're going to show that pressure look. And that's going to confuse the young kid back there. He's not young, but it's going to confuse him. They'll be able to get to him because I don't think Cincy's O-line is good enough to hang up against that.
Yeah, and they don't have a running game to help out. Obviously, you see their 96 yards per game, which is 28th in the NFL. That's just not a great number. I think you shut them down on early downs. You put them behind the chains a little bit. 3rd and long, obvious passing situations, I think they're going to eat and continue to kind of, as a collective, put pressure on the quarterback, make tackles for loss, and maybe even win some one-on-one battles on the outside as well in the pass rush. I'd like to see them get home with 4 guys a little bit more. They've been bringing that extra rusher pretty much very consistently, and that's leading to a lot of these plays in the backfield.
I'm scared. I mean, everybody, if a Dolphin fan said they want to watch this game, no, we want to see Tua and Mahomes next week.
Thank you. I mean, people have been getting on me for looking ahead, but I'm saying, this ain't about this game.
Yes, it's nothing wrong with that. Even the Dolphins are looking ahead. That's a big game for them because, hey, if the Dolphins if the Dolphins do win that game, what are we going to be talking about?
If they keep it
That would be
close.
bananas. Yeah. You just hope for, competition in that game. But is Miami good enough to call Cincinnati a trap game? I mean, Miami's a good team now. So they're like, to say a trap game, though, I mean,
it's a trap game in the sense Miami may come out sluggish. A trap game.
Yeah.
It won't be a game that they lose.
But does the Denver game change that? Because to me, that went out the window. And I looked at this team with Brian Flores and everything, we're talking about them letting up and all that. But I don't see that being – and look, Miami with the culture down here, and it's a different thing with the two teams. But I don't see them letting up again after the Denver game.
See, Tua just had a bad game at Denver, too. Yeah. That was just a bad game across the board.
What happened with Denver as well, Denver actually has a pretty good defense. Their schemes and stuff like that, they're not just stifling Miami. They stifled a lot of teams. The only reason they're not winning is because they're not formidable on offense. Drew Lock turned the ball over early, but he came back. Miami, they went to running the football against us, and it showed that, it just was a bad game. Overall, the whole team played bad. Miami couldn't stop the run, and still they had a chance to win the game down the stretch. But Fitz turned it over in the end zone to end. But hey, you can't. It's a trap game because Miami came out slow. Denver is a better team than the Jets and the Bengals may be. So I don't see them letting up. Like I said, I think everybody predicted them to go 6-1 down this stretch, and this one more win would make them 6-1 down the stretch with a chance the last 5 games to make amends to the season.
And plus a home game, too, obviously, that's going to impact everything as well. Traveling to Denver is never easy, obviously, at altitude, no matter the record there. It's a tough physical game. And like you said, Fangio for Denver had a good game plan against the Dolphins. They took away what was working in previous weeks, and they came out and bottom line, they just played a better game and beat the Dolphins, which it happens.
It happens. It's the NFL. Every game is not going to be us going out there, the defense scoring 28 points like they get against the Rams. Well, not scoring 28 points, but they set Miami up in fairly good field position almost every time. Well, we had 14 points just off special teams and defense. Then we had another
one down to the one.
Yeah, one down to the one. That was, I think it was a strip sack fumble. So, you're not going to have that every game. We're going to have to win some football games. I'm sorry to tell fans that, you guys want Tua. Tua's going to have a game where he goes, 13 of 28. But, hey, he got to muster up a win somehow. So, hey, he drives downfield late. So, it's part of the game. And, it's overreaction. Everybody has revisionist history nowadays. Mm-hmm. So, it's just like we live in it now. Tua go out and throw for 300 yards. Oh, my God, he's the best quarterback. Now we got, national media saying, oh, I would have took Hubert over him. How can we say that? This is just a sample size of what we've been watching with a guy who's working with more than Tua is working with. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, they get a little bit better supporting cast on offense at the skill position. I think, Keenan Allen obviously is the top receiver. And Devontae Parker, as a receiver, is very, very good. I don't think he's, like we talk about, that high volume number one receiver. If maybe he got the target share, he could put up those numbers. He's, knock on wood, had better durability the last couple of years. And if he gets a chance, I think he has the ability to be on that cusp of a wide receiver one. But Miami needs that real dynamic home run hitter on offense. I think that's the key, and we got to bring in a back. Like we talked about on Tuesday, Miami's full of number 2 running backs, but we need that number 1 guy, and I think that's going to come through the draft. Yeah. Miami's not going to overpay.
I'm gonna be honest with you, though. I think Miami's going to go free agency with the running back position.
Aaron Jones.
That's going to be a big contract. I mean,
but think about it. Miami didn't draft the running back this year, and this class had a few good ones. I just don't see Miami right now. Is Etienne going to be there in the first round? No. I think you have to go receiver right now, to be honest. And then you can go O-line help as well. So it's just, is it this draft though? I just think they're gonna just pay somebody. They have the money. It's not gonna hurt them.
Well, that's the thing for me, right? So you go back, and I always go back to the comparison with Russell Wilson. And I know it's not the same, but the Marshawn Lynch factor. You can draft someone and groom them and let them become that number 1 guy, but what are the chances they come in immediately and they're that? I'm not saying Aaron Jones is Marshawn Lynch, and who knows what free agent guy it is.
Aaron Jones is a complete back. Can catch
He's
the ball
on most
out
of my fantasy teams,
yeah.
so I'm with you, man. He's a TD machine.
Yes. So I don't see the problem with it. I would love Aaron Jones in Miami. That would actually be a great fit. He can help in the passing game. He's explosive. He breaks big runs, and I think he led the league in touchdowns last year with 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's the thing. He's a dual threat. You're not getting that guy who, like a Marshawn Lynch, or even now they're talking about Derrick Henry needs to catch more balls. Like, you're not talking about that kind of guy. You're talking about the dual threat. He's not Alvin Kamara, but he's got both.
Yeah.
And he's a running back one. He's an alpha, true alpha. Like, this guy is my guy, and we're going to roll with him, and everybody else can kind of just get in where they fit in.
I guarantee you Aaron Rodgers loves him.
He can protect Tua.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which Tua needs that, I think, to really reach his potential within the offense. He's got to have that threat of a running game to open up the RPO, help him out of the backfield, stuff like that as well.
Everybody has to have a threat of a running game. The Super Bowl champs, just what did they do with their first-round draft pick? Drafted a running back.
And they got Lev.
And they got Le'Veon as well. You need it in the playoff time. You know, we know Mahomes is great, but in the Super Bowl, we seen he had a bad game. It can happen, but you got
weather too. Weather changes. You got to play differently. I mean, things happen.
So
Miami, December ball is different.
Yeah. So the playoffs is different. You got to get that. Hey, I do want to ask you, Dave, both Daves, what do you guys think about what happened with Miami and the ACC? I kind of talked about it a little bit with Alex Don on the Man of the Match. I talked with him about it yesterday. But what do you feel about the ACC and how they did the Hurricanes?
I just it's very unfortunate because they were on the precipice. I mean, were they going to go to the ACC championship game? It was a real possibility. Were they going to win it? Probably not. So it's unfortunate, but I mean, this is such a messed up time that we're in. And you really look at the sports world in totality. I mean, just get these kids healthy and through the season, and let's just focus on really what's important. I mean, yeah, of course you want them to make it that far. And it does seem like a little bit of unfortunate how things kind of worked out for them, but you know, in the long run, it is what it is. So I mean, I just want them to finish the season on a high note, get their recruiting class in order for next year, and kind of just build on what, under the circumstances, I think has been a very, very positive season overall. What do you think, Dave?
I'm just going to go, I told you beforehand, this isn't my thing here, my forte, but I'm going to go the generic broad brush here, right? So, you know, sports, I love sports, obviously, but college is a whole nother thing. You're talking about kids. Like, I could have done without the season, right? I'm not going to get into fandom and all that stuff, but I'm around here. I'm South Florida local, so I'm around a lot of Hurricane fans. I've seen all the COVID stuff go. I mean, at what point? What I just don't. I guess for me, it's a priority thing. Like, I kind of look at it like it's all kind of silly right now. Who cares, honestly?
Yeah, and I can see that point of view as well, because it's like whoever wins the national title this year is gonna have an asterisk by it. Oh, it was COVID. They didn't play. Ohio State wins it. Oh, they didn't play a full game season and this and that. So, and I'm in agreement with you on that, Dave. It's kind of like a whatever season. All these guys can come back next year and they all be the same reclassification. So it's not nothing different. So
it'll reset. Yeah, definitely. But we're going to switch gears a little bit here for the last few minutes of the show. We got obviously some good games coming up in the NFL for Week 13. And want to mention one of our great sponsors of the Five Reasons Network, PrizePicks Daily Fantasy Sports. We're going to pop them into the feed here. So PrizePicks, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a little bit different. You're not picking a lineup and competing against other players. Basically, you're just competing against the board and whether these guys are going to go over or under their projected fantasy points. So we're going to take a look at the quarterback matchups here for Sunday. And, well, if you want to call Taysom Hill a quarterback, I guess you got some interesting stuff going on here. So let's take a look. I'm going to start with you, David. What do you look on this board and see, like, who jumps out to you, who might have a big game or who might struggle this week?
I mean, you can start there with Taysom just because of he's Tebow 2.0 or something like that.
I wouldn't even give him that.
But But in terms of fantasy, right? So if they had let Tebow, when Tebow was playing, he was a fantasy relevant-ish player. So I look at it like that. I mean, I played against him last week, and he put up enough numbers. He beat me. 19, he's going to sneak in the end zone a couple times, man. I like guys I've seen getting rid of Kamara. I think this is where they're going right now without Breeze. Deshaun Watson, it's an easy one. You talking about Indy? Okay, the hard defense. I don't know. I tend to go high on Deshaun Watson, always there.
Yeah.
Going
I
third.
like Derek Carr to bounce back. He had a rough game last
Terrible
week,
game, man.
But he just had a baby too. But
I like the over on Carr, and another guy I love the over on is Sam Darnold.
Really? Over 14. Well, that's a doable number against the Raiders defense. We'll just scroll down and hit a few of these guys. Mike Glennon in the mix for Jacksonville versus Minnesota. Wow. Look at that. And, here's an interesting one for us Miami fans. Brandon Allen, over under 12 points, guys.
Over. He might get a late touchdown. That's 2 touchdowns, basically.
If they're playing from behind, too, I mean, that – you got to look at the situation there. I might jump on that when we hang up here.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to throw it in here. I looked at it beforehand, and I realized quarterbacks are 4 points per touchdown, so it actually changes that part a little bit.
But say he scores 2 late touchdowns. Say it's 35 points, 2 late touchdowns. Okay, the passing yards because they're playing from behind. I think that's kind of easy, to be honest.
Well, I'm saying you look at
it's 1 point for every 10 yards. Rushing, same thing with receiving. 1 point for every 25 yards passing. So if he's playing from behind and he's got to throw the ball 40 plus times, you never know what might happen there. But it's always hard to kind of take a flyer on the over on those unknown quantities.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with that Hinton guy who played quarterback for Denver. I think it was actually, I'm pretty sure PrizePicks, they had some promotion going on last week that if you had put him in your lineup or you had picked him, because the weird situation, I think his number was at like 6 something.
Right.
That if you missed, they were going to refund your money or something like that. Yeah. But it was like some weird thing like that where, look, you look at Aaron Rodgers against that Philly defense. I know that, they're not terrible, but Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are going to do that alone.
Yeah, they had a pretty good game. I like Cam Newton too with 19 over. I think he finally has a big passing game,
Yeah, there might be a couple unders here. I think a sneaky under might be Russell Wilson against the Giants. Actually, 23 is a pretty sizable number, and the Giants' defense really isn't bad. Yeah, so that might be a sneaky under there. And Kyler Murray.
Herbert and Kyler.
Herbert's another guy that could be an under as well.
Yeah, those are a couple that I'm looking at for unders. I'm more of the philosophy that I like to bet with guys having a good game rather than kind of sweating it out at the end where, you had the guy under 14 points, he got 13.5. You got to fumble. I don't want to see bad football. So
just like when you betting over and unders on a game and the scheme scores a BS touchdown at the end, come on.
Yeah.
Man.
That's the Hail Mary the other day.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm looking for a big game from Kirk Cousins also. I actually picked him up in one of my other leagues for season-long stuff. So I think he could probably light up the Jacksonville secondary pretty good this week as well. So there's not a great slate of games this week, but there's a couple decent matchups.
One guy that I would take in the over, because if you follow me on Twitter, KingJock24, I always post an over and under selection on NFL Sunday. So my over is going to be Adam Thielen. He missed last week, but he's going against a weak secondary in Jacksonville. I think he has a enormous game. And my under is going to be Derrick Henry this week as well. I think the Browns kind of contain him.
Yeah, I think with the messed up schedule this week with the game just happening last night, I don't think they've updated a lot of the point totals for the running backs and wide receivers yet. So we're going to kind of focus on the quarterbacks today. But, I agree. I think there's going to be some regressions a little bit on some of those week-to-week performances. There's a lot of up and down, and that's why I like the PrizePick thing. I know a lot of us obviously are in the traditional leagues as well, but the PrizePicks is cool because you don't have to craft a lineup and try to fit it in under a $50,000 cap
you get your picks and win.
So that's what I noticed. To me, when I was saying to you, it looked easier, and it's not in the sense of if it was easy everyone would be doing it and taking money from the PrizePicks. But the idea to me, as far as people, even casual fans, can go on here, jump on, and instead of trying to, and the difference to me was in DraftKings and all that other stuff, you have to know the bench guys. You have to know a lot of the people that other people don't know.
Yeah, and they don't understand that because you got, like, for instance, on FanDuel and DraftKings, you know, you all guys can pick the right defense, but 30% of the people who in that field picked it, so it's kind of like
it's like a lot of those, you know, the philosophy is like stars and scrubs, but you got to kind of find that one scrub at that low price point who's due for a breakout game, maybe a backup running back who the starter's injured last minute. Someone's hurt, and there's, you know, wide receivers step up, anything like that. But in PrizePicks, you just pick the guys as they come, baby. Whoever you love, man. Yeah, and you just look at the match. I mean, I'm big on matchups. I mean, you do that a lot when you're streaming certain positions, like in the traditional season longs. Yeah, streaming defense. I'm a quarterback streamer. You know, I've just picked up Cousins in one of my leagues, like I said, because of the matchup, and I think he's a QB1 this week. So. I mean, you know, I haven't picked up a quarterback all year because Mahomes is. I have Mahomes. Why would you? Why would you? And I have Aaron Rodgers as my backup.
I got Lamar Jackson in that league, and he really screwed me. But I picked up Herbert. I think I figured out.
Hey, Dave, we can talk trade, man. I got Rodgers on the bench.
Deadline passed, man. Weeks ago, man. Hey, nobody wanted to talk to you.
Listen, I told these people in this group chat, you guys, for about 5 weeks straight. I said I got Rodgers on the block. Nobody offered anything.
Bro, everybody on my team got hurt. I had Odell. I drafted Melvin Gordon, who hasn't done anything. I had Michael Thomas. I had Lamar Jackson. I mean, I couldn't afford to give up my guy. I picked up Herbert. I was good there.
Well, that's why, like I said, you know, PrizePicks, great sponsor of the show and a real fun format. So we like to get into that a little bit and just let you guys who maybe are new to it, just introduce you to it and hopefully mix it up a little bit. Remember, when you sign up for it, you use the promo code 5, you get 100% deposit match. That's it. So 5 for 5 reasons. But want to thank David Friedman for taking time today to join us. Hopefully it's all quiet on the home front for a few more minutes. And, of course, Jakari, good luck in the playoffs, man. And we're going to have a Hurricane show tonight at 7:30. The Six Rings Cane Show will be back. We're going to preview the Duke game, which is going to be Saturday, 8 o'clock on that ACC network, which we all know and despise. But jump on that free Hulu 14-day trial or something just to get you through it. But want to thank everybody for tuning in.